સહજાનંદ સ્વામી મહારાજની જય. Vachnamrut number 113, Loya's 5th Vachnamrut. Shriji Maharaj is telling us that he has equipped us all seekers with 3 different tools: Shastra, Sant, Vichaar. Shastra means scriptures, Sant means Satpurush, gurus, mentors, guides, and Vichaar means introspection. What is the role of these 3? And the question asked in the Vachnamrut is one of them enough, or we need all 3 of them? And the answer is we need all 3 of them. What is the role of each one? શાસ્ત્ર તે ભગવાન ને સંતનું મહાત્મ્ય સમજાવીને તેની યુક્તિ શીખવે. What scriptures teach us is the mahatmya, the importance and the role of a sant, of a guru on this path. Through the Shastras, we must understand that we need a guru or a saint or a mentor or a guide on this path. So scriptures lean us towards the saint. Then what does the saint teach us? સંત સત્સંગને કરાવે, ઇન્દ્રિયોને જીતવાની યુક્તિ બતાવે, ગ્રામ્ય વાર્તા ન સાંભળવી એવા વિવેકની યુક્તિ શીખવે. The saint molds us, guides us, teaches us how to tame the senses. The saint teaches us how not to be distracted in materialistic desires and talks. But the Shastras and Sant are effective, which he shares in Vachnamrut number 108, Karyani's 12th Vachnamrut. જ્યારે સંતનો સમાગમ મળે ત્યારે સંત પરમેશ્વરનો ની ઓળખાણ કરાવે, આત્મ સ્વરૂપની ઓળખાણ કરાવે, ધ્યાન કરાવે. એ વચનને હૃદયમાં ધારવા, ભગવાનને સંતની વાતમાં વિશ્વાસ, શ્રદ્ધા રાખીને પ્રીતિએ કરીને સાંભળે તો સર્વે વિકાર, કામ, ક્રોધ, લોભ, લંપટ, માન, આળસ, પ્રમાદ એ સર્વે ટળી જાય. After having found Shastras and Sant, if we don't have Vishwas in their word, if we don't love listening to them, and if we don't implement what they say, if we don't have faith that whatever they are guiding me is for my ultimate bliss, for my ultimate liberation, they are my ultimate well-wishers. If this is not established, then we will listen to the Shastras and we will go for Satsang, but that will only stay limited to Shravan. આસ્તિક થઈને શ્રદ્ધા સહિત સાંભળે, વ્રત રાખીને દેહને સૂકવી દે, એના કરતાં પણ આવા સંતની વાત સાંભળવી તેનું મહાત્મ્ય અતિશય વધારે છે. મનને સ્થિર કર્યાનો અને નિર્વિષય થયાનો આવી વાત સાંભળ્યા સિવાય બીજો કોઈ ઉત્તમ ઉપાય નથી. We have to do tapascharya, we have to do sadhanas, but even more effective than purusharth and sadhana is શાસ્ત્ર અને સંતની વાત સાંભળવી. The best combination is સંતના મુખે શાસ્ત્ર સાંભળવા. When the Sant explains the Shastras, the sar that we get from that Shastra is far more than what we would have read and gotten out of it. So the first 2 tools are Shastra and Sant. And the third tool, Shravan, happens through the Indriyas, Manan happens through the Antakaran, and Vichaar or introspection happens with Nidhyabhyas. સંતોએ શીખવેલી યુક્તિ તેનો સવડો વિચાર કરીને તેને વર્તવા લાગવું, એ થર્ડ ટૂલ. Implementation after introspection is the third tool which will eventually get us to our destination. Mere introspection won't help. Mere faith or belief won't help. Using that faith and belief, using that Shastras and Sant and eventually getting it into Vartan implementation is what he is teaching us. Now, what is this implementation? ઇન્દ્રિયોએ કરીને અંતઃકરણને જીતવું. How to win over the senses, the indriyas? દેહ દમને કરીને ઇન્દ્રિયોના વિષયમાં પ્રવર્તવા દેવા નહીં. We have to prohibit the senses from constantly indulging in materialistic pleasures in search of happiness. Do pleasures have happiness? No, pleasures don't have happiness. Do pleasures enhance happiness? No, pleasures destroy happiness. The more we are going to allow our senses to indulge in pleasures, the farther away we are from happiness. They actually destroy inner peace and happiness. How to control the senses from materialistic pleasures? Before that, we need to understand which pleasures is he abstaining us from. He says, બધા નિયમોને પાળવું, which means all the niyams said in the Shikshapatri, we have to abide. But એના કરતાં પણ મહત્વનું છે કે પંચવર્તમાનના નિયમમાં દ્રઢ થઈને રહેવું. What are પંચવર્તમાન? દારૂ, માટી, ચોરી, અશુદ્ધ આહાર ને વ્યભિચાર. દારૂ, any form of alcohol. Mati means mass, any form of meat, any form of food that has violence involved in it. Chori, any form of stealing, something that doesn't belong to us. To have that is something that is prohibited. Ashuddha ahar, anna tev man. Whatever ahar we eat, whatever food we eat is how our brain and mind becomes. Are we having pure food? Are we having food that God allowed us? If God said don't have this, and if we have this, it is going to affect our mind. If God said don't have onion garlic, then we must not have onion garlic, otherwise it affects the mind. If God said don't have alcohol, we must not have alcohol. If God said that don't have any form of meat, even eggs, we must not. Whatever God has told us and allowed us, we must eat. And whatever God has said is ashuddha ahar, we must not eat. In fact, in a lecture that Hariswarup Swami gave, he explains that even if the ahar is shuddh, but the person cooking it has ashuddha vichar, even that gets translated or transmitted into the consumer of that food. The same is covered elaborately by Sister Shivani in her lecture also. So Shuddha Ahar by a Shuddha Sattvic cook is important. The fifth prohibited thing is Vyabhichar, adultery in any form. Not only limited to extramarital affairs, but adultery in our occupations, adultery in our thinking, adultery in our actions, in which we are not loyal to our own principles, to our own ethics, is Vyabhichar. We must abstain ourselves from these prohibited things. Is Panchavartamanna Niyamnu Dhrada Palan. Deha Daman, he has explained 5 steps of Deha Daman. Means how to train the mind. Like how an army gets trained for the war through exercise throughout their life, through certain disciplines throughout their life. Similarly, if we seek liberation, we need certain forms of exercises, disciplines. This is what he explains in this. Dharma Shastra means Shastras like Shikshapatri, na niyam padva. Whichever scripture we believe in is a guideline of how to live. We must note what all God has told us in ways and manners that he wants us to live. We must understand that from a Satpurush and then execute that in our lifestyle. Second, Ahar no niyam, vrat rakhwa. Every religion teaches us that we must have certain days on which we are doing upvas. We are not having any food. We are abstaining from all sorts of materialistic indulgences and only dedicating that day to God. Some religions say Somvars, some say Mangalvar, some say Shanivar, some say Ekadashi, some say Paryushan, some call it any name, Rosa, but even Christianity, even Islam, even Hinduism, in every religion, we are being encouraged to have niyam of ahar and vrat. Have only limited amount of food. Control your senses. If we have to control just one sense out of all the 10 senses that we have, then it is the tongue, it is the ahar, it is the taste, it is the food. If that is controlled, automatically all indriyas are controlled, he says. Third, જાણીને તાળ તડકો ભૂખ તરસ તેને સહન કરવું. We must teach ourselves સહન શક્તિ, tolerance. If I am hungry, I can tolerate hunger for some more time. If I am thirsty, I can tolerate thirst for some more time. If it is extremely hot right now, then I don't get restless or vulnerable because of scorching heat. And if it is extremely cold, I need to know how to tolerate cold. There are saints that encourage us to have a bath in cold water, extremely chilled water. And that teaches our body that I will not always give you what you want. I will push you beyond your comfort zone every once in a while, because I want you to get strong. I want to teach you resilience. Every time I'm not going to pamper you. That is the attitude with which a seeker needs to train the body to act like a slave and not like the master of the soul. This body, these senses, these antahkarans, man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, are all tools. They are all slaves to the soul. They cannot distract or dictate wrongdoings to the soul and cause it karmic consequences. Fourth, katha, kirtan, varta, bhajan, smaran, mala, dandvat, pradakshina, adik sadhanao karvi. We must constantly do Nam Smaran. We must take God's name. And he says that જીભે કરીને જેટલું નામ લેવાય તે જ નામ કહેવાય. મને કરીને નામ લઉં છું એ વાત તો તદ્દન ખોટી છે. If we have tall claims that I am constantly connected to God and I don't need to do Nam Smaran, it is escapism. It's a brilliant thing that if we are connected to God, we must use that connection and actually do physical Nam Smaran. Take that mala in the hand and chant that name loudly or softly, but physically, not just mentally. The fifth, he says, is asanjitva. Involve yourself in some form of exercise, yoga or exercise. In some form, this body also needs to do certain sadhanas. And that is what he says in this Vachnamrut. Now, a big point that he highlights at the end of this Vachnamrut is that sometimes we all seekers succumb to kapat or dambh, deceit or manipulations or cheating. What is he calling cheating? પંચવર્તમાન સંબંધી કાચ્યપ પોતાને વિચારે કરીને ન ટળતી હોય અને જો એ સંતને ન કહે તો એ કપટ થયો. If we are faltering in any of the things that are said till now in this Vachnamrut, and if we don't go and confess to the saint, to our guru, to a fellow seeker, or to somebody, or to God, if we don't confess that, if we don't have remorse of that, then that is kapat. Then we are trying to feel that we will get away with this. But there is a constant CCTV watching over us. That CCTV is called God. He knows it all. When we see him on Judgment Day, he is going to show us highlights of all these shortcomings, and he is going to question us that you had these shortcomings. Why did you never come and tell me that I am sorry for these? Did you think that I would not come to know that these shortcomings are there in you? Why didn't you show a sincere effort to overcome these shortcomings? Whether it is alas, whether it is pramad, whether it is lack of nishchay in God, whether it is lack of vishwas in the Shastra of God, whether it is lack of vishwas in the Sant, whether it is lack of implementation, whatever be the lack, why didn't you come like a child, become Nikhalas and tell me, God, I need your help in improving in this? If that sincerity is not there in us as a seeker, how do we think we are going to liberate? The second, he says, is કોઈ સંતનો અવગુણ આવ્યો હોય ને તે સંતને જઈને ન કહે ને માફી ન માંગે તો એ કપટ ને દંભ થયો. If we have thought something wrong about our own guru, about our own fellow seekers, and if we don't go and confess to them that, sorry, I got this wrong thought about you, I shouldn't have, I apologize, please forgive me. Avgun, shortcomings, limitations must not be highlighted or even observed in a guru. We have to just observe good things in others, the good qualities of others, the good things that others have done to us. We must not even remember or notice the bad that has happened to us or the shortcomings or limitations of any other human being, because we have enough of shortcomings and limitations of our own to observe. And if we have this nature that we can see shortcomings of others and only see the good in us, then we are not on the path of self-improvisation. Self-improvisation means I'll see my own shortcomings in a constructive way to become better with every day, and I will only see good qualities of others and appreciate them. That is what is the ideal quality of a seeker. And if this is not happening, then we must confess it, we must aim for it, we must have remorse of it not happening. Otherwise it is kapat. And the third, અનિશ્ચયના ઘાટ થયા હોય તે સંતને આગળ કહેવા. Anishtay means fundamentally I don't believe only in the existence of God. I don't have proper nischay that God exists. I am reading the Shastra, the Vachnamrut, but I don't really believe that this is said by God. I hear what the Shastras are trying to explain, but I don't really believe that I will get real happiness from within me, from my soul or from the Paramatma. I still feel that pleasures are necessary. I still feel that they are forms of happiness. If I don't believe in the things that I hear, if I don't have faith in the things that I hear. Yesterday I read a very nice definition or difference between trust and faith. Trust means we have some evidence about something and we believe in it, that is trust. Faith is when we have no evidence about the thing that we are intending to believe in and yet we believe it without any evidence. That's faith. Trust is an experience and faith is a state of mind. A seeker needs a faithful state of mind, believing in every word that the scripture and the saint are trying to say, bringing all of that in Vartan, sincerely, honestly. And if we are going to follow these paths that God has told us, liberation is inevitable. We won't need to wait for death to feel liberated. We will feel liberated from the ups and downs and highs and lows of life. Even if we are alive, we will feel that now the same circumstances happen, but I look at them in a different way. They don't affect me anymore. I'm not vulnerable anymore. I am peaceful. I'm not restless. Even if I have nothing to do, I can just close my eyes, meditate on God. I can just chant, or I can simply do nothing and just remain connected to Him and stay at peace. Reaching that state is liberation, but after reaching that state also, before enlightenment, chopping wood, after enlightenment, chopping wood. Our kriyas don't need to change. We don't need to fall prey to nothingness. We need to constantly do bhakti of God. Malas must increase. Naam Smaran must increase. Jap must increase. Vartan must keep getting better. This is what he is trying to teach us in this Vachnamrut. It's a brilliant lesson. I hope we all get it. Sahajanand Swami Maharajani